relationships from Wakanda, talking T'Challa. This is the Joyfully Married After podcast, episode 22. This is Joyfully Married After with Heath and Tracy. I'm Heath.
And I'm Tracy.
We're joyfully married after how many years, baby?
26.
26 years, 4 kids, corporate jobs, entrepreneurs, and this podcast is our view on life through our lens.
Let's go.
We good over there?
So we still talking about Black Panther, the Black Panther.
No, you got to say the Black Panther.
The Black Panther.
That was pretty good, Tracy.
Hey. We are still talking about this
amazing movie. It's been more than a month since the movie was premiered to the world, and Tracy and I have physically seen it 3 times, actually.
Yeah.
We saw it 3 times in the first weekend of release. Within the first week, I guess.
We saw it the Thursday night before release. Then we saw it.
Not before release. The Thursday night that it was.
Yeah, the Thursday night it was released.
Uh-huh.
Then we saw it.
Was it Saturday?
Saturday, and then we saw it the following week.
Right.
So the first time we saw it, we had those tickets like forever, and my son ended up getting his wisdom teeth out.
Yep.
So he couldn't go with us.
Right.
But we went ahead and went.
Yep.
The second time we went the same weekend, my mom and my son, who had gotten his wisdom teeth taken out, had not seen it. So of course we went with them.
Yes.
And the third time was I wanted to go see it in the reclining chairs at my nearest movie theater, which I didn't get a chance to because I couldn't get tickets.
Right.
So that was the third time.
Yes.
So we've seen it 3 times.
And one of those times was in 3D.
Oh, yeah, that was really good.
Yep.
I enjoyed 3D probably more than any of the other times.
Yeah, Black Panther's dope, regardless of how you see it.
And if you haven't seen it, go see it.
Go see the movie. So at the recording of this, it is now the highest grossing film of all time in the U.S. and it's over $1.2 billion globally.
Wow.
$1.2 billion globally.
That's
So I
great.
think there have only been 6 movies in the history of the United States that have grossed more than $600 million.
But nobody wants to see Black Panther hero people. Nobody wanted to ever see that. Nobody ever said that. ever.
So it was a very dope movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So much to unpack with the movie. But what Tracy and I wanted to talk about today was relationships. Relationship lessons from Wakanda. Since being relationship strategists is something that we do.
And we saw a lot of things that we just really wanted to talk about that we saw in the relationships of this fictional movie. We understand it's fictitious.
Right.
It's fictitious.
Right.
So we are speaking from a fictitious point of view, but we're speaking about real relationship ideas, real relationship keys that we saw.
Yeah, after I saw the movie, I was just struck by a number of things. And, of course, they resonate with me from a relationship perspective. And I had all of these ideas, and so I jotted them down. And you actually have not seen most of these.
I haven't seen it. This is going to be interesting.
So let's get into it.
Okay.
So the first thing is what I noticed about T'Challa, since we're focusing on T'Challa in this episode, is T'Challa was a complete man.
Ooh, yes, he was.
Even though he is single in the movie.
How much is he worth?
Like 600 trillion?
No. No.
You mean
$90 trillion.
$90 trillion. Yes.
That's how much T'Challa is worth.
And where did that number come from, baby?
From the comic books.
Is it the comic books?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, that vibranium is serious out there. But the point is that the characteristics of T'Challa being such a complete guy, he was very worldly, he was well read, he understood life and politics and all of those things, and it was just an amazing type of thing to witness the regal way that he carried himself. And I think that there was a lot of self-awareness, of course, because he was the prince, his father was the king. But the point is that he was not looking to be like the playboy, or he wasn't just snapping his fingers. And,
I don't know. T'Challa seemed like he might have been a little bit of play. He had a little bit of play in him.
Okay, well let me rephrase. In terms of the depiction in the movie, that I saw.
He was into Nakia.
He was into Nakia,
He was
but
into her,
but the point,
it wasn't like he really had time for anybody else.
if you were a man of today,
Okay.
and you were single and good looking,
Yeah.
and a
rich.
prince, and you had $10 trillion,
No, 90 trillion.
$90 trillion, you might be sort of a player.
Yeah.
So my point is that I think that because he had a certain sense of maturity and regalness about him, it was a really cool depiction and display of when you have yourself together, when you know it is what you're doing in life and you're just going about doing your business, doing the things that you enjoy, doing the things that you know you need to do. It was really refreshing to see him not just be, a James Bond, quote, quote, type of figure.
A player.
Right? So I just thought that
it was
really cool.
It was a refreshing change. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's not real" or whatever, but it can be.
Sure.
And once you figure out who Nakia is, you get why he's into her.
Right.
I love the scene after he rescues her and they're sitting on the ship going back to Wakanda, and she's sitting there rubbing his hand.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, wow.
Yeah.
He's in his suit.
Right.
And she's consoling him.
Sure.
I just was really, really struck by that image
Yeah.
of his vulnerability to her at the time that he needed her so bad.
Mm-hmm.
He basically carried out a mission to get her.
Yeah.
And then she responded. And that's what I loved about that scene.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're going to deep dive into Nakia in our next episode.
Right.
And this one, so we're talking about T'Challa. The second thing I wanted to say about him was that he was very strong in his faith.
Yes, I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important when you're talking about moving into a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And being strong in your belief system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Heath and I are Christians.
Mm-hmm.
We're believers in Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior.
Truth.
But if whatever your faith is,
Mm-hmm.
be real about that.
Yeah.
Practice it.
Mm-hmm.
And have an understanding of it so much so that people don't doubt that about you.
Right.
And that is sexy.
Yep.
It's very, very sexy. It's very attractive.
And he was very strong in his thing,
Yes.
right? Giving homage to his ancestors and all the things that were connected to his faith and having to go deep within. I thought it was really cool.
Yes.
The next thing is doing what he knew to do. Doing what he knew to do all the time, right? And I think that from the perspective of seeking wise counsel, understanding that he had a certain responsibility on his shoulders as Prince, as a leader, and he would reflect and then he would execute. He did what he needed to do in whatever the situation was.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
He didn't punk out.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah.
He didn't punk out.
There was no evidence of punknish in T'Challa.
No. I mean, I think he was a little taken aback when Killmonger arrived.
Yeah.
But I think he was more taken aback that he was lied to than Killmonger himself.
Right.
But for the most part, he wasn't a punk.
Right.
T'Challa wasn't a punk.
Yeah. The next thing I noticed about T'Challa was that he was a protector.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was a protector of everyone, including his nation.
Yeah. Everyone and everything.
And I think when you think about that in today's society and aspects of it, I think men have lost that.
Mm-hmm.
They have lost that sense of protection. I hate to talk about it. Sometimes I watch those fight videos.
No.
Yeah, I do. I do. And I saw one a couple weeks ago where the kids got off the bus. Happened to me in North Carolina too.
Huh.
Kids got off the school bus.
Okay.
There's, everybody's gathered in somebody's front lawn.
Okay.
And a boy is going in on this girl.
What?
Like he's getting ready to fight her.
Okay.
Takes his shirt off. He's cussing her out. He's got his hand all in his face like he's going to do something. And she stands there very, very quietly and just clutches her book bag.
Okay.
She was scared. And other people are just standing around looking at her. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all just watching this?
Right.
Well, he takes a step towards her and pushes her. And two boys came out of nowhere and beat the crap out of him.
Right.
I don't know who they were. I don't know what they were doing. But I was like, what? Yay. I was like, yay. It was like, I know that's not good. I get it. Don't email me talking about,
Sure.
whatever. But what I liked about it is they felt like That's enough.
Mm-hmm.
You already acted a fool.
Right,
That's
right.
enough.
Mm-hmm.
But you put your hands on her now. We have a problem with that.
You protect the woman.
And it's about protecting her.
Right.
I don't know their relation to her or
Mhm.
anything. I think they were trying to talk him off the ledge.
Mhm.
Just from the video I could see, and he didn't stop.
Right,
So
right,
then
right.
they wailed on him.
Mhm.
First of all, dude going in on a girl. She was a little skinny, tiny thing. I didn't understand it at all.
Right, right, right.
And
She was a backstory.
it's about being protected. You want to protect your family.
Yep.
You want to protect your woman.
Mhm.
You want to protect your children.
Right, right, right.
You are in the mode of being a protector.
Yep.
And he was that. T'Challa was that.
He was.
It was nice. And guys need to get back to that.
Yeah.
You have to get back to that.
Another thing about T'Challa is that he was about community, right? And so that kind of dovetails from being a protector, but he was all about Wakanda. He was all about everybody thriving and being in a good place. And he was about the people, which I thought was really cool. So even though he was the prince, and even though he was royalty and his dad was the king and all of those things, he was still boys with the dude who was out there herding the goats and doing the thing with the rhinos.
No, he was leader of the army.
Yeah, but he was still a farmer. He was
that was his cover.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But he was out there, doing his thing, and he was chopping it up with the people. He was strolling through the city. He was doing all the things that he did. He wasn't just, on his high horse and not engaging with people. That he was about community.
I think that's a good thing. I think it's important to reflect that yourself.
Mhm.
Look at ways you can help out in your community.
Right.
There's so many young men out here that need father figures, that need a big brother. There's so many organizations out here that give you an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not overcommitment in any way, shape, or form. Our jobs give us 40 hours a year to our jobs give us 40 hours a year to volunteer. And in doing that, it gives us an opportunity to connect to our communities.
Yeah, it's important.
And it's very, very important. So think about that. That's an attractive quality. When you see a gentleman go, oh, I have a mentee I'm dealing with now. There's a guy that I work with that, I know him from work. And what he does is he goes to his native country every year, Haiti, and he helps the kids learn STEM there, learn the code and things like that. And he was awarded something. Remember the little gallery when he was awarded something this year? And I just was really struck by that.
Right.
The fact that he's early in his career, he's working it out, but he's still giving back in a very significant way.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about that. Volunteer, give, lift somebody else up. It's not always about you and your Gucci's and what you driving and where you balling and VIPing and all that stuff. That's not what it's about all the time. And that's not always attractive to a woman of substance. It's important to always include your community. And I'd have to say that was a good quality of T'Challa.
Yeah, I think that the saying used to go, act globally, think globally, act locally. And I think that now in this world of internet and planes, trains, and automobiles, you can think globally and you can also act globally just as well as acting locally. So just depending on what things are close to you, close to your heart that you'd like to engage in, I think that you have opportunities to do all sorts of things today, which are really cool, being about the community, being about the global community, or being about your local community. So really cool stuff. Another thing was his self-awareness. I thought that he was really self-aware, understanding who he was, whose he was, being a prince, being a son of the king, being a leader of his country, being the Black Panther.
And the expectations.
All of the things that come with that,
Yeah.
right? He was very aware and was not overwhelmed or he was not in a bad place about that. He knew what that meant and he executed that, right? He took that self-awareness and he did his thing, which I thought was really cool.
I think about that, and I like that too, baby, because I feel like he wasn't too serious. I liked how he interacted with his sister.
Yep.
And how he interacted with his boy. I can't remember his name. Down on the with the leader of the army.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like how he interacted with
the lead character from Get Out.
Yeah. I like how he interacted with Nakia. And I like how he interacted with everyone in a self from a way from a stage of self-awareness.
Right.
My favorite scene that really showed me he was self-aware who he was when he was in the temple.
Okay.
And he went to ask Forrest Whitaker's character about Killmonger.
Right. He was
And
like, "Who is this dude?
He said, "Who is he? What's going on?" He said, "I'm not supposed to tell you. I promised the king I wasn't." He said, "I am your king now."
Yeah, that's true.
That was like, oh, he knows who he is.
Right.
And I love that's like one of my other favorite scenes.
Yep. And it probably struck you because he didn't carry himself in that way throughout the movie.
No, he didn't.
Which dovetails into my next note is how confident he was in his royalness, but not with a nose in the air type of persona. And so I think that because he was so even, because he was so mild-mannered and even, yet he was royal and self-aware and the Black Panther and all of these things simultaneously, it really jumped out at you when he made that statement in that scene. He was like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming."
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. Yeah. But it was very evident that he was very aware of who he was.
Absolutely. And confidence is very attractive. So again, bringing this back to modern day times, confidence is something that people always look for. So if you're looking to get a job, if you're looking to get a promotion, if you're looking to get a woman, confidence is key.
It's key.
Because if you come in there with your shoulders stooped over and you got like kind of this mumbling and this meek look on your face, and like
people ain't gonna deal with you.
How you doing?
No, it's a no.
Confidence. So take that with you, fellas.
Yeah, take your shots with your chest sticking out. Take the rejection, like just let it roll off your back.
Self-awareness, but confidence. The next thing I wanted to note was that he sought wise counsel whenever he needed help. Whenever he was thinking through difficult things, he sought wise counsel. And having had to do that myself over the years as I've grown in my manhood, I think that that's so key for especially guys when you're talking about dealing with life. There's so much that comes at you these days, right? The world moves so fast now. And I saw somewhere where they say that we actually make more decisions in the course of a year than our grandparents did in their entire lives.
Wow.
And so that's only accelerating. And I think that the number of things that are coming at people today can just be mind-blowing. And when you want to make good quality decisions about your life and how you conduct yourself and those kinds of things, sometimes it makes a lot of sense to seek some wise counsel in certain areas, right? So that could be some books you read, there could be some things you listen to, it could be some ministers or pastors or a wise uncle or information that
a coworker. It could be a coworker,
right, and
that you trust.
Exactly right.
I think guys need to connect more. I love these new shows I'm seeing. Man Cave this and Man Cave that and all. I'm loving that because it's showing that you all are learning how to connect on a different level other than just drinking and women and sports.
Right.
And I think it's I'm glad to see that, especially in our community where it's always been this connotation of gang or something like that. And I'm just glad to see it's being done with technology.
Yep.
It's being done in a very supportive way. And I see our men growing up, so to speak. I see them being able to talk about things they haven't been able to talk about in the past.
Right.
And in a public forum, in public spaces. And that's what we need to heal our community.
Sure.
And it just fills me with joy when I see it. So I like the fact that he sought wise counsel.
Yes.
Everyone should seek wise counsel. Everyone.
Agreed. Another thing that I noticed about T'Challa was that he had a tremendous amount of respect for his elders. And that was very refreshing to see, right? So growing up in the South, in the church, in certain types of families, I was always taught that you respect your elders, you give them the respect that they deserve. You say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. You make sure that they're okay. You ask them, you speak with them in a polite manner. You let them sit down first. You let them eat first. All of those kinds of things that sort of go with, hey, you have been living life much longer than I have. You have paid the price for certain things that I don't even know about.
Right.
And I just want you to know that I appreciate that. And the way that I can show, I may not be able to give you a certain sum of money, but I can give you reverence. I can show you respect. I can be cordial to you. I can demonstrate to you that my parents taught me better.
Yes.
They taught me not to poo-poo you because you're a little more feeble in your flesh than you were 50 years ago. And so I respect the wisdom and the price that you paid for me to have a better life. And so I saw that in T'Challa, and so it really resonated with me because that's the way that I was taught.
I think that's how we all need to be. I think the times that we're living in right now, I think the political atmosphere that our country is going through right now, it's all cyclical, guys. We've been here before. This ain't new. This is nothing new. And I think one mistake that we're making as a community is we're not reaching back to say, hey, guys, people that are still here, still living among us, still walking, still talking, still working, still marching. What can we do differently?
Yep.
You've done those things. Let's have a conversation about what we need to do now as a community, not just us trying to figure it out. That's not how you move forward. You've got to go back to the past, revere the past, understand what happened in the past, and pull it forward. And that's in your relationships too. Don't try to go in this stuff alone. Understand when your mama tells you, have you cooked for your husband this week? She's asking you for a reason. He said his favorite meal was pigeon peas and rice. Do you know how to cook that? Have you learned how to cook that yet?
Might want to check it out.
Or whatever. You might want to check that out. It's very important to respect what elderly people are saying. Not just elderly, but just people have more experience than you. People are older than you. People have been married longer than you. It's super important to get that knowledge.
Sure.
Grab it and move forward.
Yep.
Because it's difficult to move forward without it.
It is. Another display of respect that he showed during the movie was respect for younger people, right?
He did.
And that was really cool. His sister was a great example of that. She had all of this technical knowledge and was essentially a genius in the STEM space and with a number of things actually. But the fact that he was open, this guy is the king. Right, his father is no longer around. And he's just as
intelligent. He got a lot of degrees. He knows a lot of stuff.
Worldly, reared in a certain way, right? But he was open to the ideas and the input of his sister and of younger people, and he was not intimidated by the input and the ideas.
And I think that speaks a lot to another time right now. Another time right now. People always ragging on the millennials.
Sure.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
Do you all understand that millennials are now 34 years old and probably your manager? Let's get real. Let's just be real about this.
Yep.
They have a lot to say. They have a lot to contribute, and they have a lot they can teach you.
Yeah.
Heath and I are relationship strategists, and we've been married for almost 28, 29 years. What is it, baby?
We'll be 28 years this summer.
I still follow people on Instagram who are younger than us.
Right.
Just because I'm older doesn't mean I know it all.
Right.
You know, in my marriage, I think I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged when I watch younger people who have strong marriages.
And they're celebrating it.
And celebrating it and pushing out information so that other people see how they're doing it.
Sure.
You know, and I think it's important to merge the old with the new and the middle. You know, it's all got to be, we're one. We're all one. So in relationships, there's nothing wrong with honoring younger people.
Absolutely. Very cool.
They have something to contribute to.
Yes. Another thing that I noticed about T'Challa was that he was very level-headed, and he was kind, and he was thoughtful, yet he was an alpha male.
He was an alpha male.
And so you don't always see that in life.
I think that's fictitious.
You don't always see that in life, but I think that
what's the alpha male, baby?
Yeah, so An alpha is the lead dog, is the
We're
person
not
in
talking about
front,
the
is
guys that
the
step on the yard, and that's not what we're talking about.
no, that's not what we're talking about. But everybody knows. Everybody knows the alpha in the room. You put a bunch of guys in a room. There's gonna be one over the top personality. There's gonna be one guy who's saying, "I'm the biggest, baddest dude in here. I'm the smartest dude in here. I'm the most vocal dude in here. I can do more push-ups than anybody
Oh
in here.
yeah,
I know more things than you know.
yeah, yeah.
I've experienced more. I have more money than you
Okay,
do. I have
okay.
more information
We
than
got
you
it. We
do.
got it. We
I'm
got
the
it.
alpha. I run this. There's a bunch of dudes in here, but you ain't better than me."
Okay, I got it.
That's an alpha. And we see them at work. We see them at play. We see them in our colleges, in our past,
I
in
think
our
Killmonger
present.
was an alpha male.
Of course he was. Absolutely he was. And so that's typically why you have the heads that butt, because you have two
M'Baku
alpha
was
men.
an alpha male.
Absolutely he was. And you have these heads that butt, and you have these people prancing and looking for the position of who's going to be the alpha of the alphas.
So you're saying he was thoughtful and he was kind. Are you saying alpha males aren't thoughtful and kind?
Not always.
Oh, so maybe he wasn't an
not,
alpha male,
not
baby.
frequently. No, well, what I'm saying is that this is something that alpha males should strive to be. Because alphas are going to emerge in life because they're alpha.
Right.
And what you'd love to see is someone who's going to be in leadership, someone who is not afraid, someone who has the personality and the chemical and physical makeup of being this alpha, but who is also level-headed, but who is also kind,
Right.
but who also is self-aware, but who also is thoughtful. This is what we need in the world, the alpha that is also those things.
I like
Not
it.
the alpha that's butthole.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
that?
Okay.
You got it?
I got it.
You with me?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Another thing I noticed about T'Challa is that he knew what woman he wanted.
Oh yeah, he was not playing.
He
with
was
this.
into her. He had other things on his plate. But his life was complete.
Yeah, he was complete. But he still knew he wanted Nakia,
And he
knew
treated her.
He wasn't. It wasn't waffling. What were we watching last night? We were watching Atlanta, and the main character's woman, Van. She was like, "I'm tired of waiting for you."
Right.
And I looked at Heath. I said, "Ern is a punk." I mean, I knew Ern was a punk. Y'all don't watch Atlanta. That's what I'm talking about. And I was like, Ern is a punk. This girl got it going on.
Right.
She's bilingual. She's beautiful. She takes great care of his child.
Yeah.
And you can't figure out what you want to do with her other than just hit it every now and then.
Right.
You a punk.
Well, he was in a punkish place.
No, he's punk.
He's in a weird place right now. But the point is that T'Challa, if you extrapolate that and place that into today's environment, right? Women would love if every man knew what they wanted.
Thank you.
If you want me, let me know. Right? This is what the woman might be thinking.
That's what you did with me.
Yeah.
I had no doubt whatsoever.
There was no confusion.
I was not confused at all what Heath Turner wanted. He wanted Tracy Wilson.
Right.
There was no doubt. None. Not an inkling.
Right.
And that is some real stuff right there.
Yeah.
If you waffling, dude, please move on.
Yeah.
Please.
And so
please.
you see this behavior in T'Challa is that he had all these other things going on. He had all this responsibility. He had this self-awareness and that kind of thing. But he knew what he wanted, and he let her know what he wanted.
Yes, he
and
did.
He treated her like a queen.
Yes.
And
you can be queen. You weren't so stubborn.
He was he was respectful to her. He was kind to her, and it was no confusion.
Right.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, I wonder if Storm gonna come in and break that up.
We shall see.
If you all know anything about Marvel, you know Storm is part of DC. X-Men. Most recently played by Halle Berry in the movies. If you think about the movies, that's who T'Challa married in the comic books. So we shall see.
Yes. So a couple more points on T'Challa. I wanted to say that in his interest, in Lupita, what's her character's name? Nakia.
Nakia.
So in his interest in Nakia, he communicated with her that he was interested. And at the same time, he gave her space.
Oh yeah.
He gave her.
She demanded that.
He gave her time to come to terms with her feelings. He didn't rush her. The final point I wanted to make was he didn't attempt to rush her into bed.
Well, we know that's because it was a Disney movie. Because that's not real.
So here's my point. He was very clear about what he wanted.
Yes.
He communicated what he wanted.
They ain't kissed till the end of the movie.
He let her know what he wanted.
But that was his ex.
He respected her, gave her time for her to come to grips with her feelings, and he did not rush her to bed.
Right, right.
So I know, some of that's certainly Hollywood and Disney and that kind of thing, but I think the point was that, hey, he was very clear on his intentions, and he gave her time.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point that he was patient.
Yep.
That's what you're saying. He was patient. Even though he loved her, he knew he loved her, he knew he wanted to be with her, even though their relationship was complicated.
Yep.
He didn't bug her about it. He just spent that time with her, and she allowed it.
And part of that had to do with him having enough going on in his life where he's just not spending all of his days chasing women and trying to figure out what she was doing.
He was busy.
He had stuff going on.
He had stuff going on. So that's key. Have stuff going on. Have your stuff together.
Have some stuff going on. Have your stuff together.
And your friends will appear. Your loves will appear.
That's right. The Lord
they
put
will
them in.
come into your life.
That's it.
That's when I was minding my own business.
Yep.
When I met Heath Turner. Like 150%.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa, right, baby?
Exactly right.
So that's how you find them. You mind your business. Mind your business, head down, and next thing you know, you in a relationship.
Boom. So coming up in our next episode, make sure you tune in. We're going to take a deep dive into Nakia and look at relationships from Wakanda from Nakia's perspective.
Oh, that should be nice.
Yes. Joyfully Married After podcast. Thanks again for listening today, folks. If you liked any of what you heard, please like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast. Tell a friend, too. And you can engage us at heathandtracy.com for all the goings on in our world. Queen Tracy, speak to the people.
Bye, loves.